Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. And of course, the Brian Craig Show podcast is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. Remember, Tom Laporta, he's a good MAGA guy, and he will never sell you a roof you do not need. All right, so we're getting down to it now. And Kamala, and I've been following a lot of presidential races throughout my life. Kamala is the most dysfunctional, self-destructive candidate we've ever had. And the reason that is because people that are as messed up as her, so far as lack of credibility, get weeded out through the primary process. All these things that are coming out now that we've been talking about the last couple of months and the ones we're going to play today are things that would have come up a year ago in a primary process, and she would have been weeded out. Okay, this is why she got weeded out 4 years ago after the Tulsi Gabbard debate. So there are two issues that are the primary issues in this election. One are the grocery prices. The other's the border problem and all the problems connected to the border, okay? And don't let people tell you, oh, they're eating cat. First off, that has not been disproven. And second, to laugh as if there's not a problem with the southern border and illegal immigration is insane. But the grocery prices, what I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is people that don't follow politics, people that don't follow the news are all talking about the high cost of groceries. I was talking about on the radio this morning, I was talking about my mother. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and my mother is not a political person. She doesn't follow politics. She's not interested in the news or any of that, okay? And she has never, ever, ever, ever in my entire life mentioned what she mentioned to me yesterday, which was the price of groceries. My mother is retired and she's a widow, so she lives alone. She went to the grocery store. She buys nothing, right? I mean, she, widows that are retired, that live alone, don't eat that much. Okay, don't buy that many groceries. Plus, she goes out with friends and stuff and eats too. She told me she spent $160 at the grocery store and she got nothing. She had nothing. She could bring it all in by herself with one trip, right? So that's the water cooler talk. That's what everyone in the country that doesn't follow news and politics are talking about.
So is your mom going to vote for Trump?
Well, I didn't ask her that.
See, this is the problem.
I haven't asked her that yet.
People that are, I don't know what it is, because I asked my dad, who's a Trump guy, and my stepmother, they're big Trump people. They went on the cruise, by the way. Yeah. And he might go again, he said. He had a great time. Huh. I said to him yesterday, I said, do you have any friends? He lives in Stewart, and they live in a retirement community and everything, and they belong to a country club, and they golf all the time. I said, do you have any friends voting for Kamala? Because I said, she's so stupid, I don't understand. He said, I know one. It's a woman. And he said, everybody else is voting for Trump. And he said, but she is a diehard Democrat, been a Democrat her whole life, and she absolutely flat out refuses to vote for a Republican no matter what. There's a lot of people like that. And I said, that is the dumbest reason to vote for her.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. It's like voting for her because she's a person of color.
It's a bad habit.
Vagina.
It's a bad habit.
Stupid.
Is what it is.
It's a bad habit. I don't understand. So if you're a Democrat, explain to me. The Democratic Party is not what it used to be. So if you're 80 years old, like my dad's 86, his friends are all in their 80s, and you have been voting Democrat, Kennedy and everybody, all of them down the road. How can you look at Kamala and say this is the answer to this country? What is wrong with you? She is stupid. She is stupid. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. She's a moron.
And not only that, she's a Marxist and a San Francisco liberal.
Too.
This thing that has been circulating and finally has come out is this phrase that she uses all the time.
Yes.
Is Marxism. What's the phrase? We have to be this is her unburdened by what has been undone. Yes.
Phrase or something. Nobody figured out where it came from, but Brian figured it out.
Yeah, a lot of people, others figured it out. I didn't, others found it.
Well, it came to light.
But she says we can be unburdened by
what has been undone, or I don't know.
You
guys know what we're talking about.
I got it. Okay, it's what can be unburdened by what has been undone.
Yes.
That's okay. And most people look at that and they say, okay, well, that's just another word salad. That's not true. And so people have investigated and established this and proven this. It's from Karl Marx. And what the Marxists want to do, the Marxists are revolutionaries, okay? And what they want to do is start over with year zero, like they've done in China, right? They want to wipe out they think all the problems in the world are because of everything that's been running it up until now. So they want to be unburdened and undo everything and start over with the year zero. And that comment that she makes, it's not a word salad. This is what has been drilled in her brain growing up by her
father,
her Marxist college professor parents, both of them, the mom too. So she's been brainwashed into that. And that is some hardcore, true believing Marxism, more so than like even, Castro and those guys, they had mansions and everything. You know what I mean? They just wanted power. She is a brainwashed communist. So when a video has surfaced of Kamala from 6 years ago, okay, in Los Angeles. So the first issue that everyone is talking about and concerned about, of course, is inflation, right? The high cost of groceries we were talking about. The second issue is, of course, the border issue. And this idea that we have no border and people could just come here at will is insane. Even in the 19th century, when they had those big waves of immigration, there was all kinds of regulation on who could come here. And they had limitations based on country. Only so many Irish, so many Italians, so many French, so many Chinese. They had it all by country, okay? And they were very strict about enforcing it. So anyway, the border issue, because of everything that it's doing, right? Like this town in Springfield is on the verge of collapse because they overran the system, the crime, and there's Springfields all over the country. So President Trump's plan and promise to shut the border and have the largest deportation in the history of the United States is a very popular position. And Kamala Harris, who's trying to act like she's strong on the border now by saying she supports all of Trump's positions on the southern border, even though she's in charge now, her and Biden, she could fix all these things and doesn't. This 2018 event she went to, it was a parade. And I'm going to tell you what they're saying before I play it, because it's a crowd she's in and they're yelling it out. They're saying, down, down with deportation. Kamala's saying it. Down, down with deportation. Listen. Okay, and Kamala's dancing. She's saying it and dancing. She's got her finger in the air and she's grooving and dancing.
Yeah, this video just came out.
And, the thing with Kamala...
Well, she loves to dance.
Yeah, and talk about cooking. I don't know if she actually cooks, but she talks about it a lot. But Kamala, even forgetting about her Marxist upbringing and growing up in Canada and everything, all this stuff, she, at the very least, she's a San Francisco liberal.
I would love to know, and Trump brought this up about her father. He's still alive.
Yep.
So does she not have a relationship with him, or are they keeping him well hidden? Because I think it's the latter. I think that he's laying low. He's obviously retired, I'm assuming, because he's like 90. And it's amazing how nobody in the media, nobody has asked where he is, has asked her about, I don't know if her mother's still alive, but has asked her.
No, her mother passed away.
Has asked her, do you talk to your father? Do you have a relationship with your father? Nobody has gone to try to interview him or talk to him. I think that is on purpose because, nobody has done a deep dive into his lesson plans. How come no reporters are looking for video of him teaching or of his lesson plans or his curriculum? Mm-hmm. How come why is this guy, why was he teaching at a United States university in the first place? And what was he teaching? Obviously, we know the basics, but I want to know specifically about this woman. Not that I'm going to care or vote for her, but I think people need to know and what she's all about. And I think that this guy, this Eric Weinstein, who's an investor, a video came out of him saying what this comes from. He's the one who said it was from Karl Marx, and the video went viral yesterday. He was doing an interview, and it's on Reddit, and it's all over the place. And I put it in your Facebook group, and you need to watch that video. It's on YouTube. It's just Google Eric Weinstein. It's very interesting, and he explains this quote of hers that she has said over and over again, which nobody knows what the hell it meant.
Now we know.
He said it comes from Karl Marx directly, and he said this is like from the Communist Manifesto, which you can get on Kindle, by the way, for 30 cents if you want to read it. I just looked.
The commies don't give it away for free. You got to pay.
I guess so. 30 cents Kindle, and it's like $12 paperback. So I'm not going to read it, but
I don't need to read that crap.
I read some of the quotes, and they sound as confusing as she does. So this is where her speak comes from. This is where her dialect and her way of talking comes from. It comes from her father. Because if you read quotes from Karl Marx, it's like a word salad. It's like they go in a circle.
Yeah.
And they're confusing. And it's meant to be that way. And this is why she talks this way. Because this is how her father talks.
And her mother probably did
This
too.
is where it comes from.
Yeah.
So people need to, like I said, nobody is doing a deep dive now. And Miranda Devine has a new book coming out. I want to read but it's about the Biden still. Nobody's writing a book on her.
No one's interested in that book right now, Miranda
They need
Devine.
to write a book on her and really look.
It's just over a month away. There's no time to write it.
They can crank it out. They can crank it out.
Well, the thing
or
about
an article at least.
The thing about this is, like I've been telling you guys for months now, we have not seen a photograph or a video of Kamala in a courtroom arguing a case in front of a jury.
Nope.
She runs around telling everyone that she prosecuted all these cases. I don't think she's ever been in a courtroom. I don't believe she passed the bar. Okay, I think that there is a very good chance.
I agree with you
that she failed it the first time, and that Willie Brown, her sugar daddy, fixed it, so she just got passed. Okay.
Yep.
And that's probably why we haven't seen her in a courtroom. If she had some great moments, we would at least see a still. We've seen nothing. Now the thing about her father and her mother, her parents were college professors. They there's no way that there's not video of her parents talking about this Marxism stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
And the very least, there's got to be, to be a professor at that level, they've got to publish papers. Where are their papers?
Exactly.
Where are their dissertations?
Exactly.
Where are their published works? Everything about Kamala's parents is being suppressed by the media.
Meanwhile, we've heard all kinds of things about Fred Trump.
Oh, please.
And Donald Trump's
from 100 years ago.
Father, probably all of it. You don't hear the good stuff like this, how he paid for this one guy's tuition. This guy's been to rallies, and he went to the same school as Trump, and he's been on right side, and he said that his father died, and Fred Trump was on the board of trustees. This was like in the 60s or something, and he came to his house, and he was on the board of trustees of this private school. And he said, I'm going to personally pay for your 3 sons' education so they can finish their schooling since their father had passed away. He did that personally. You don't hear stuff like that. You don't hear about all the good things that the Trump family has done and the charities and Trump and how Trump fought to allow black people into country clubs where they weren't allowed before in the 70s and 80s. And he fought for that.
I want you to think about this. This is something that is so true, okay? And Kathy's a native Floridian. I've lived down here almost my entire life. And Palm Beach, okay, President Trump's golf course, where that monster, we have some new information on that guy, which we're going to get into later.
New information came out.
Yeah, after the break, we're going to get into that. The place where that assassin tried to shoot President Trump last weekend, President Trump's golf club was the first golf club in Palm Beach, Florida, to allow black people to become members.
That's right.
And he while he owned it, so he allowed.
He worked to make that happen.
No other golf. He didn't work. He just did it.
He did it. Right.
He opened a golf club and he said blacks can join. No other golf club in Palm Beach would allow blacks to join until Trump did it.
It's amazing. What really upsets me is you have people like Al Sharpton. They know Trump. And they've known him. And
better than we do because they're in New York.
And they know all this. And they're friends with him. And Al Sharpton is who looks like a popsicle stick. He's so skinny. I don't know how he stands up. I've never seen anybody as thin as him. He just doesn't look right. He is so desperate to keep his young wife happy and to keep his job at MSNBC that he says horrible things about a person that is his friend for money. And he knows this crap is not true. He knows all the good things he's done. I've seen pictures of them together in New York. Very good friends, him with Jesse Jackson and all these black leaders. None of them are coming out and defending him. They just let people on the left malign him over and over and over again. Meanwhile, Kamala, who's a communist, and her family are communists, we know nothing about her. Nobody is investigating her. And someone, I'm telling you, somebody needs to really do a deep dive and get an article out there. I don't understand why nobody's bothering to do this.
Because Democrats are like James Bond. They have a license to kill. They can do whatever they want. Now,
no, they did it with Biden. Do it with her.
I'm going to put out a call for you guys to support Mike Lindell with our promo code Kane, of course, Kane at checkout, Kane at checkout. I read an article today. This is nuts, okay? Mike Lindell has drastically lowered his prices, and he's lowered his prices for two things that are going on. One, he's gotten kicked out of all the big retailers like Walmart. So most of these low prices, you're getting like the Walmart buyer price, right? These are the wholesale prices. And there's a big blowout sale that's going on the MyPillows for just $14.98. And by the way, you have to go to our special private MyPillow website to get that. MyPillow.com/Kane. MyPillow.com/Kane. The MyPillow blowout special is not available on the regular MyPillow website. MyPillow.com/Kane. I read an article this morning, Kathy. What they are doing to this man, Mike Lindell, is so just sad, sick, and twisted and terrible. I'm not into numerology. I know a lot of people put meanings and numbers all the time, okay? I don't do any of that. Someone went through the price list at MyPillow.com and wrote this just disgusting article, which I'm not going to share with you. You guys can find. Saying that the prices are numbers symbolizing terrible things, which of course is not true.
Oh my goodness!
And I mean, they will not stop. They're doing to Mike Lindell what they do to President Trump. Remember, the FBI raided him at the drive-thru. Remember that?
Yep,
they boxed him in and took his phone, and they got kicked out of all these stores for supporting Trump. And this new thing I read today was like the lowest of the low. I cannot believe this article was published. It's just I've seen them do a lot of terrible things about Mike Lindell. Okay,
well, this is why a lot of people
beyond the pale
support Trump, because this is like a warning to them.
That's one of the reasons they harass him.
What's going to happen to you?
That's
why. I mean?
That's one of the reasons they harass Mike Lindell is a warning to other people.
Yep.
You know,
like we'll destroy your life and your business.
And there's no symbolism in his prices other than he wants to give you incredible products at incredibly low prices. The standard MyPillow, the blowout sale, just $14.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout. I paid $65 for my first standard MyPillow. You're getting it for just $14.98. Now, what happened there, I talked to them. They had a big order from a big retailer, and they got harassed, and they canceled the order. And obviously a big national one. So they have an overabundance right now of the standard MyPillows. That's where the blowout sale is going on for just $14.98. Now, that $14.98 on the standard MyPillow is available on our private MyPillow website again, MyPillow.com/Kane, Kane, with the promo code Kane. And remember, free shipping on all orders over $75. So support Mike Lindell. He and the employees that work for him, they really need your support. I know you guys have done a lot of support. We have so many MyPillows. We have more MyPillows than probably anybody else you know. That doesn't have a store selling them. We have a lot of them, and we continue to buy his products because they're so great, and we want to support him. And when you use our promo code Kane, of course, you're supporting us at the same time, Kane. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, a whole bunch of new information just came out on the Trump golf course assassin. We're going to go through that right after this.
This Halloween, the scariest monsters are the humankind. From director Ethan Henry comes the new film Severance Mountain. Is the perfect date night thriller. In Severance Mountain, after a tragic loss, two friends go on a camping trip to the remote Adirondacks. But when a body is found on the mountain, they realize they're not alone. As Sarah and Toby try to reconnect, they find themselves in a nightmare. Every step deeper into the forest leads them closer to an unknown killer. A police sergeant knows something is hunting preventing the tourist, but can Sarge stop it before it's too late? This Halloween, find out who or what is waiting in the woods. Severance Mountain is available right now on Amazon, Apple TV, iTunes, and Google Play. Don't get lost in the woods. Severance Mountain, where survival is the only option. Are you a restaurant owner or chef who wants to upgrade your kitchen without breaking the bank? Then check out Auction Factory Tennessee, your destination for top brand restaurant equipment at unbeatable prices. Auction Factory Tennessee specializes in brand new inventory and expertly restored repossessions. Whether you're building the commercial kitchen of your dreams or just need a few upgrades, Auction Factory Tennessee have you covered. And the best part, you can bid and win from the comfort of your own home or restaurant. Imagine saving thousands of dollars on premium equipment. Auction Factory Tennessee have everything you're looking for, from ovens and fryers to refrigeration units, and that's just the beginning. Over the next month, Auction Factory Tennessee is offering over $1 million worth of brand new merchandise. Auction Factory Tennessee has been helping businesses just like yours for over 2 decades. Auction Factory Tennessee auctions are happening right now, featuring everything you need to outfit your kitchen with the very best. Take your restaurant to the next level and go to auctionfactory.com, and under auctions, click Tennessee. That's auctionfactory.com, and under auctions, click Tennessee for Auction Factory Tennessee, producing auction perfection. When you're looking for unique, handcrafted pieces that combine both artistry and natural materials, there's only one place to shop, and that's Maxon Rugs on Etsy.com. That's Maxon, M-A-K-S-O-N. Maxon Rugs on Etsy is your go-to shop for stunning cowhide and sheepskin rugs, handbags, pillow covers, and much, much more. Based in Canada, Maxon Rugs on Etsy takes pride in offering one-of-a-kind items born from a passion for craftsmanship and design. Each piece is carefully curated to bring style, warmth, and a touch of luxury to your home. From gorgeous cowhide rugs to stylish handbags and personalized wedding favors, you'll find something truly special for yourself or that perfect gift for any occasion. Explore the handcrafted collection today at maxonrugs.etsy.com. Whether it's for your home, your office, or someone you care about, Maxon Rugs has something beautiful just waiting for you. maxonrugs.etsy.com, where craftsmanship meets creativity.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, so we got a bunch of new information out. I don't know about a bunch. We got some new information out about the Florida golf club Trump assassin, including a letter that he left behind. There's still a lot of information that's missing about this over a week later, but let's go through the new stuff first, okay? Man suspected of assassination attempt against Trump left a letter detailing his plans. The man, who authorities say sat with a rifle in the trees where Donald Trump was golfing earlier this month in West Palm Beach, Florida, previously wrote a letter stating this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, according to a new filing Monday by federal prosecutors. Shortly after the filing, a federal magistrate judge ordered the shooter to remain detained pending further proceedings. A witness told investigators that the wannabe assassin, the assassin we'll call him, I don't like to say their names, had dropped off a box at his home. He dropped off a box at this friend's home months before. The box contained ammunition, a metal pipe, miscellaneous building materials, tools, 4 phones, and various letters. After learning of the apparent assassination attempt, the witness opened the box, according to the court filing. One letter addressed to the world said, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Trump ended relations with Iran like a child." This is from the letter. "And now the Middle East has unraveled," the letter says. He's been charged with 2 firearm offenses. More serious charges could be brought in the case.
I would hope.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be charged, he says in the letter, but here's the question.
Well, let me finish with the article, then we'll go through it. Prosecutors say the assassin was in the area of Trump's golf course and Mar-a-Lago across multiple days in the month before he was arrested and has had a Google search of how to travel from Florida to Mexico in one of his phones. He also had a handwritten list of dates and venues where Trump has or was expected to appear in the lead up to the election. Prosecutors wrote that he had traveled from West Palm Beach from North Carolina on August 14th. Cell phone data shows him near Mar-a-Lago and the golf course multiple days and times between August 18th and the 15th, the day he was arrested. See, this thing about, so he did drive the route. He had gone over to the golf course. Remember in my video, I was telling you it's a difficult area.
He must have been heading back to North Carolina, which is about a 15-hour drive.
Agents in his car found 6 cell phones, one of which included a Google search on how to travel from Palm Beach County to Mexico. The agents found 12 pairs of gloves.
I guess that's where he was headed if he had succeeded.
A Hawaiian driver's license in the defendant's name, a passport in his name as well. His recent background included a stint in Ukraine. Okay, we know about all that stuff. And then it goes into some details that we know about where he was. Okay, so
Crazy.
Yeah. We have a lot of information, but we also don't have a lot of information. But the thing about this that seems to me to be insane is they publish this information that the shooter, the assassin, is offering to pay $150,000 to somebody else to do it. And that seems a little irresponsible to me.
Yeah, Don Jr. was very upset.
Really? Don Jr. talked about this today?
He tweeted that they're basically posting like a bounty on my father's head. He said, what's wrong with people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, does he have $150,000?
Well, Jack Posobiec asked, where's he getting the $150 from?
Exactly.
Well, what's concerning to me is that he wrote this letter months ago, okay, saying that he had failed. So that tells me one of two things. He tried before and he didn't succeed, or he never planned on succeeding, that he planned on getting caught.
Okay.
Why would he say ahead of time, I failed?
Okay, now let me clarify that.
Me.
Okay, because this is what I think you're saying, and maybe this is possible. Maybe this letter was written after a failed attempt that we don't know about.
Right. That's one.
Not this failed attempt.
Right. That's
but
one
he failed in the past that we don't know about,
right.
And he wrote this letter.
Or he never planned on completely going through with it.
Oh, he planned on it. If he was there, he had the
well.
he put the
Why
barrel
would he write
through
in
the
a
fence.
letter that I failed? Unless he never planned on completely.
When I first heard this,
he just wanted the attention.
Okay. When I first heard about this letter, my first thought was not what you thought, not what you just said. My thought was, well, maybe he wrote, like with the moon landing, he wrote like a letter if he succeeded and another one if he failed, to be left behind.
Well, then where's the other letter?
There isn't another letter.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking what you think might be true, that he attempted this in the past and we don't we don't know about, and this letter was written after that failed attempt, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
That's what it sounds like to me.
So yeah, that's what we.
Well,
need to
maybe
know.
it's. I don't have a timeline on this exactly. They're a little vague about it, what they told the press or what the press is reporting.
Yeah.
There's a connection between him and the Pennsylvania shooter through that Black Rock video. They both been in Black Rock videos. So was he a part of that in Pennsylvania? And that failed.
Oh.
So was this letter a reference to that?
You know what? I bet you're right.
You understand?
Like they were working together.
Somehow. There was some, yes. We have a connection through the Black Rock videos. So was he somehow involved in that?
Yeah, if he wrote this letter a couple months ago, he could have written it right after Butler.
Maybe.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know.
Yes.
They haven't given us a really good timeline.
I think that's a very, very interesting...
Isn't it? Yeah.
...theory that nobody else has mentioned. You heard it here first.
That's right.
That's interesting.
That's like a lot of things you hear first. But yeah,
exactly.
And that is what there's no way to know. This is all speculation because not only are they not telling us anything, the press are not even demanding regular press conferences. You know, when there's when we had that Parkland shooting here, we had the entire press from the world moved into Parkland. It's not too far from our house, just a few minutes. They were parked here for months. This happened here in the same area. They're not even here. They weren't here really at all. They had a pool camera there.
Because they don't want, in their mind, doing that validates him, okay? That's why they didn't want to give
Validates
him...
Trump.
Validates Trump. It makes him legitimate.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't want to give him the proper protection, which they say now he has. Whatever. We'll see. Hopefully. They don't want to validate him. I remember on The View, they said, a while ago, they were actually talking about this, and they said, he's not big enough to need security. Nobody's going to go out. You know what I mean? Like, they really just think just don't want to legitimize his presidency or his candidacy or anything.
Yeah.
So to admit that would make it seem like, you know what I mean? So that's part of what's going on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's exactly what it is. And that's one of the reasons the security detail wasn't what it was supposed to be, is because they didn't want him to look too presidential.
No, exactly. It validates him as a serious person, and as somebody who's in danger, and they don't want to admit that he's important. He said only consequential presidents get shot at, and they don't want to admit that he's consequential.
Well, when I went and saw Trump when he left Mar-a-Lago to fly to New York for that arrest with Bragg the first time, right?
Yeah.
That first thing.
Yeah.
And his motorcade came by. I could not believe how small it was.
Yeah.
It was like, if you got together with your friends on Saturday night, you'd have a bigger motorcade.
Once he's elected,
so they did that on purpose to make
he
him
will be in charge of his own protection.
Well,
believe me, it'll be quadruple.
The reason they had such a small thing is because they wanted, in their mind, they wanted him to look small. They didn't want him to look important.
That's right, and also I believe
so they put his life at risk.
That I believe they want him to look small. They want him to look unimportant, and also I believe they wanted to make him vulnerable.
Well, yeah, they did
to
that.
These kooks.
They did that, but the press aren't doing anything with this. When there's a school shooting, they're there, and they should be there, by the way, asking tough questions of everyone involved with this.
Right, and they had
they're not asking
hall
anything
with Parkland. Now, people did die there, and children. It was awful. And they were here for 3 months. And you even went to the town hall with Laura at a major where they have the Panther games back then it was, I think, the Staples Center, and now it's something else. But it's a huge arena where they have the Panther games, and they have concerts, seats like 22,000 people. They had a town hall there. It was on TV. It was I've never seen them do that with anything like that at all. They really milked that tragedy for everything. It just grew and grew. And here you have a candidate who has been president, they've tried to kill him twice. He was actually shot at. And you're right, because they don't want to make him look important, but he said, they wouldn't be going after me if I wasn't important. And today there's a video of Zelensky at a bomb factory in Pennsylvania with the governor, Shapiro, signing bombs.
Yeah.
That I just can't believe this. These are warmongers, these people, and they're all excited, and they're signing bombs and this and that like it's World War II. And
not only that, Zelensky's trashing Trump. He gave an interview.
Well, of course, he doesn't want the war to end.
He gave an interview, and he says, this was Zelensky said, "My feeling is Trump may not know how to stop the war."
Oh, please. That's the last thing he wants.
And his message seems to be that Ukraine must make a sacrifice. Well, when there's a war going on and you're negotiating a peace, both sides have to give something.
That's right. Otherwise, it'll never end.
But, here's the thing with Zelensky. The reason he's here campaigning for Kamala Harris, Zelensky doesn't want the war to end.
No, exactly.
He does because then the money stops.
Well, he's not going to admit that, but that's the truth.
He has won the lottery, and
I saw
it's coming in every day to him.
I meant to tell you, somebody was in the Ukraine, and they made a video on YouTube or on social media, and they were walking like in Kiev, and they were walking down the street, and it was looked like Montreal, and every car they went by was like a $200,000 car.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is this, Dubai? I mean, it was looked like the richest city in the world.
Yeah, those are probably the government workers, and
exactly.
And we bought those cars.
All where we are making them all multi-millionaires.
That's right.
All these world leaders, it's a huge grift, and all these world leaders are making a fortune. This is what they learned in World War II, and Eisenhower talked about this. They learned how lucrative wars are. He said the military-industrial complex, and Bobby Kennedy said that's why they went after his relatives. They wanted to stop the war. That's what it's all about, folks. It's all about keeping us embattled because these guys are making billions of dollars. We should watch that Eddie Murphy movie.
Which one? Best Defense?
Yes.
I've never seen Best Defense.
It's not very good, but
Who
I
else
think
is
that's
in that?
what
Is
it's
it Dudley
about.
Moore in that?
Who?
There's another star in that, but they're not
Is
in
it Dan
season.
Aykroyd?
Is it Dan Aykroyd or
No.
Dudley Moore?
Maybe, I don't know. Let's watch it
Best
because I
Defense?
think that's what that movie is. It's a dumb movie, but it didn't do well, but I think that's what
We'll bring
it's
it back.
about.
Well, Blackwater is part of the military-industrial complex.
You mean Black Rock?
Black Rock, yeah, I keep saying Black. I'm sorry, guys. Black Rock is part of the military-industrial complex. And what Eisenhower said in that farewell speech when he talked about the military-industrial complex.
That was a warning.
He said in the past, we did not have a military industry, that when a
That's
war
right.
came along,
That's right.
factories would transform into making military things. And he says now, whatever percentage of the economy it was then is dedicated to one thing and one thing only, war. And they have to have them every once in a while.
Like this factory they were at today with Shapiro and
It's disgusting.
Zelensky. They're sitting there signing bombs that are going to go over. And I know in World War II they did stuff like that too, but
that was different.
that to me is different. I mean, Hitler was putting Jews in concentration
What's going
camps,
on
okay?
with Ukraine? Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union, and regardless of what your opinion is, Ukraine and Russia is really a civil war of sorts.
That's exactly right.
It's more of a civil war than anything else,
Yeah.
and we have no business being involved in it.
I agree.
Could you imagine if Trump went to a Glock factory and started signing bullets or guns?
Exactly. I mean,
what would they say?
He's a warmonger.
And those weapons will probably kill nobody because most guns aren't used to kill. But Zelensky can go there with Shapiro and sign bombs all day.
I
and
mean,
that's
look how
okay.
they acted with George Bush and Cheney, and now they love them.
Yeah.
The left are ridiculous.
You had turned on just now. You turned on Right Side Broadcasting, and they're at this event that Trump's going to be at, a round table, and he's going to speak in Indiana. And I saw this woman from behind. I'm like, who's this new lady they got on? This new
he has a rally tonight.
This
too.
new girl they got on Right Side Broadcasting. It's Scott Presler. I saw him from behind, and I thought it was a
He's
woman.
got nice hair. Is that Scott?
Yeah, Scott Presler.
Love him.
Scott Presler. Everybody knows Scott Presler. His whole life is dedicated to registering people to vote Republican, and he and I know each other from way, way back. And we were both on Periscope together. And he was a guest on the podcast years and years ago before he was famous. No, that is a girl. It's not Scott Presler.
No, it's a girl.
I thought it was Scott Presler.
No, same hair.
Doesn't that look like Scott Presler from behind?
Well, she's got long nails.
I feel bad for the girl. I thought she was Scott
No.
Presler. She's got the same hair as Scott Presler.
Yeah, same hair.
But anyway,
for sure.
Scott,
and he's always there, by the way.
Scott Presler, by the way. So he started out on Periscope before he got famous.
Yep.
And in Trump's first campaign, what he used to do was Periscope is it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a live streaming app that Twitter had. And he used to sit in Starbucks all day doing whatever work he was doing on his computer while he was live streaming on Periscope. And he had a sticker on the back of his laptop that said "Gays for Trump" because he's gay. And he sat there for like a year in this Starbucks with this "Gays for Trump" sticker, and that's how he got famous.
He sat there because people would come up to him and talk to him, and he
I don't know why I thought she was Scott Presler.
I don't know, and she's tall, and maybe, but anyway, but
sorry, Scott Presler.
Yeah,
hope you don't hear this.
But he would go to Starbucks and have the "Gays for Trump" on his laptop, the sticker, and then people would come and talk to him, and that's really how he started off.
That's how he started.
And now he's working for the RNC. Doing what he does, which is registering people. And, I think there's a lot going on with the RNC that we don't know. And I think they are really on top of things as far as poll workers and hiring lawyers and all this stuff to make sure everything's above board. But so I think Lara Trump's on that, They've learned from the last one.
Well,
so that's interesting.
But, back to what we were talking about. If Trump went to a Glock factory and started signing bullets or Glocks or magazines or something, they would have meltdowns. But it's okay for Zelensky to sign bombs that kill a lot of people.
But the governor of Pennsylvania.
And and get all excited while they're doing it. It's pretty sick, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is really, really super twisted. But again, Democrats have complete free passes to do whatever it is that they want to do.
Well, I would love Trump when he gets in with Elon Musk, they're going to have like an government accountability, and I would love for them to do an audit of this war and
financial audit.
Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about it, and put her in charge of it, and say, let's do an audit. Where did the money go? Follow the money, and let's see exactly what $300 billion or whatever we've spent has accomplished, and and has gone to.
Yeah.
My guess is a few mansions and cars.
Well, these cars that you're talking about, I think, is probably a good place where it's gone. Now, I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. I got a video I'm going to have up on my YouTube channel soon where I went to a house where he was doing work, where he replaced the roof, because I wanted to see what his crew does. And I was blown away at the level of, well, it's really the way I described them on the podcast on Friday is his roofers. I guess they're roofers, but to me they're really artisans. They take things to a whole new level when it comes to roofing. And I've seen so many roofers work in Florida. We probably have more roofs done than anyone else because we have hurricanes in Florida, and sometimes they get damaged.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've never seen a group of artisans like Tom Laporta's crew. It really was pretty impressive. Now, if you're in the state of Florida and you need a roof repair or roof replacement, call Tom Laporta. He's a good MAGA guy. He will never sell you a roof you do not need. He works on every type of structure, both residential and commercial, even municipal buildings, including churches and schools and such. And he does incredible work. He also works with every type of roofing material there is. I'm going to give you his cell phone. Give him a call, 954-604-4602. We've had listeners from all over the state of Florida call Tom Laporta, and he's done incredible work for them. If you have a condo, if you have an HOA, give him a call. He does incredible work on condos and works very well with HOAs. We had one listener, he had several roofers come out to give him an estimate. They all told him he needed a new roof. Tom Laporta came out and said, you just need a repair. Can you imagine? On a whole condominium complex, just need a repair. All the other roofers said they needed a whole new roof when they didn't. It's amazing. Give him a call. Again, this number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take our last break. Don't go anywhere. Much more to talk about. We'll be back right after this.
Do you have high blood pressure? Are you concerned about having a heart attack, a stroke, aorta, or other cardiac concerns? If you said yes to any of these, you need to buy the book Miracle Man, Beating the Odds, Cheating Death from author Scott Pribble. This true story revolves around the author's late-night onset of emergency aortic dissection. After 26 years of various prescribed drugs not lowering his blood pressure, he had emergency surgery at 2 a.m. and was given 15 minutes to live. He survived and wrote Miracle Man, Beating the Odds, Cheating Death to help people worldwide avoid this injury, which happens far more than people realize. Pills aren't enough. Author Scott Pribble's book has received critical acclaim for its easy-to-read format, the surgical and medical records he includes, and the inspiration readers will feel, as well as the motivation and the suggestion the author makes to show the book to your doctors so you can avoid this life-threatening injury. John Ritter, Alan Thicke, Bill Paxton, Lucille Ball, and even Albert Einstein all died from aortic dissection, most within 2 to 3 hours. Miracle Man, Beating the Odds, Cheating Death is only $7.99 and is available on Amazon. It can also be ordered from your local bookstore. Is your heart health and life worth $7.99? This is an urgent book to buy to help you avoid disaster. Author Scott Pribble wound up disabled the last 16 years and is spreading his message worldwide. Help yourself and help your family now. You can also visit his website, scottpribble.com. That's Pribyl. And one more thing, please share his website with your friends, your coworkers, your family, and your neighbors. Don't be a statistic. Live your better life. Please order today. Again, the book is available on scottpribble.com and Amazon.com, as well as your local book retailer. Do your heart a favor. Order today. You can also email the author at scottspribble@gmail.com. Help yourself and anyone you know, as about 45 to 50% of Americans have heart disease and don't know it. Buy the book today, now, if you have time. Miracle Man, Beating the Odds, Cheating Death from author Scott Pribble on Amazon and scottpribble.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, you may have seen over the weekend, Janet Jackson said Kamala's not black. Okay. Now Trump said it, and he's a racist, right? He didn't even really say it. He was asked by that one reporter, and Janet Jackson says it, and guess what? Whoopi Goldberg defended Janet Jackson for saying it.
Of course. If Chris Pratt said it, it'd be a totally opposite response.
Well, when they asked Trump about it, she was all upset. But Whoopi Goldberg fiercely defended Janet Jackson during The View today, as she urged critics to give Janet Jackson a little grace after Janet Jackson said that Kamala Harris isn't black. Janet Jackson, age 58, made the shocking claim in an interview with The Guardian when she was asked her feelings about having the first black president. Things got heated on The View panel as Ana Navarro accused the superstar of spreading misinformation. Janet Jackson, a superstar? Sunny Hostin said she doesn't want to give it too much air, but Whoopi was having none of it. When Anna sarcastically suggested that Janet Jackson has a phone, Whoopi fired back. Hold on. Yeah, she's got a phone. Janet Jackson is not a political animal. She's a musician. Her life is doing this, and she's mourning her brother, referring to the recent death of Tito Jackson. Isn't Tito the youngest?
He was 70, so...
I thought he was the youngest.
No, Michael's the youngest. Michael would have been like 65 now.
For some reason, I thought Tito was younger than Michael.
Michael and Madonna are like the same age. She's
That's
like
right.
64, 65.
And he died
They're like born a month apart.
Whoopi said, sometimes I've said stuff and I was wrong, but people want you to say something right away. But when people are coming at you saying, hey, you're done, blah, blah, blah. So saying she's not black is racist unless Janet Jackson says it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Here's the thing. I don't know what her ethnicity is. I think that a lot of black people like Janet Jackson have come out and said they don't think she's black. And if black people don't think she's black, that tells you something.
But let's be fair, Janet Jackson is hardly black these days either.
What are you talking about? She's Janet Jackson.
I'm just joking.
She's not like her brother Michael, is she?
She's changed her face. She's lightened her skin. I mean, she doesn't look as black as she once did, but,
I saw a picture of...
I don't think it... I mean, like Trump said, they asked him about it at the debate. He said, I don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is if she's lying about it.
Well, here's the thing with Kamala.
But I've seen pictures of her father. He is Jamaican, and he looks black to me. So,
in the pictures I've seen, he does.
I think he's biracial, and I think she's probably 25% African.
Well, I'll tell you what the story is.
That's my guess.
With Kamala. First off, I saw a recent photograph of Janet Jackson. I haven't seen her in a long time. I can't believe how old she looks. She is not aging well. She's just not. I mean, I guess she's got a rough life, the Jacksons. This is what I think the story is with Kamala Harris, okay? Kamala Harris was not raised by her father. She was raised by her mother, okay? Her parents divorced. She was raised by her mother, not her father, up in Canada. And if you go and look at the family photos, they're wearing the traditional Indian clothing, like India, not like, Native American headdresses or anything. You know what I mean? And I think Kamala was raised as an Indian, and I don't think she likes being black. I think she just doesn't. I think she
uses it when it's convenient.
She's got some self-hate racism going on, which is very bizarre. And her whole life, she's gone around and not said she's black, but said she's Indian. I think she doesn't like that I think she's black and Indian, okay?
What do you think about her?
It's obvious. You see her dad. Her dad's black.
Jackson apologizing. Her dad is, you look at him, he looks like he's biracial. Like he looks like he's at least half black. I think he's half black, half Irish.
I haven't seen a good picture
of him. Her ancestor is Irish.
Well, slave owner.
The slave owner came from Ireland.
But her father's not the slave owner.
No, but that's his ancestor, so he is part white.
Yeah.
Okay? So she is part white too. She's a mix. She's got a lot of different ethnicities like our daughter does. Emily is African. She's Caucasian. She's got
Indian.
In
like South American.
South
Indian.
American from Ecuador. She's adopted, but she did the ancestry thing. Emily's got like 4 things.
But the thing with Kamala,
but Kamala does that. It does these accents, like she did that Spanish accent, and then she does these other accents. If you want to say the black accent, whatever, when it's convenient, it's insulting. And I have never, other than one time with Charlemagne, that guy, I won't say his full name. That's the only time I've ever actually heard her say, "I am black."
Yeah.
It came up in the debate.
That's right.
And I never heard her say, "I am black. I am."
She doesn't like to say it.
Other than that one interview, she does not like to admit that.
No, she hates it.
So that should tell you. And I think maybe that's the thing that black people should focus on. Well, if she is, fine, but why does she hide it?
Because she doesn't like being black. Listen, I have not seen a color photograph of her father. I've seen a lot of black and white photos. He looks black to me.
Yeah, he does, at least partly.
I haven't seen a color photograph, and we haven't seen him, so it's hard to tell if he's biracial or not.
Here's the question. Does she consider herself black at all?
No.
I don't think so.
Only when it's convenient. Just like Obama, okay? Obama uses race when it benefits him, when he can use it against and Kamala uses it when it benefits her. But this whole thing about whether she's black or not, she was very reluctant to say she's black. Because the obvious response is, in the debate, look at me. Of course I'm black. Sorry, Donald. But she didn't say that. She couldn't get herself to say it. She's self-hating.
Well, and it's interesting because I asked Emily, our daughter is, like I said, she's 25% Eastern Europe, 25% South American, and then 50% African.
Yeah.
And I asked him, and then like 5% something else. And I said, what do you consider yourself? And she said, like, if ethnicity. And she said, I consider myself more black than anything. Because Emily looks, she looks like she's more black. I said, okay, she doesn't consider herself Caucasian or anything. Because Emily doesn't look Caucasian at all. So I think Kamala considers herself Indian.
Yes.
More than anything. It's her
That's
culture.
Right.
It's how she was.
And
that's fine. That's fine. But she uses her small percentage of blackness to try to win over black people. And I think most black people these days are not falling for that. Like maybe they used to with Obama. Like, well, we got, there's some, but you should not vote for anybody. I mean, if I said I'm going to vote for Trump because he's white, I'd sound like a loser. I mean, that'd be the worst thing for a person to say and the dumbest thing reason to vote for him. It doesn't matter. You have to vote for somebody based on their qualifications. And if you vote based on their gender or color, that's how they hire DEI people. That proves she's a DEI hire.
Yeah.
If that's what you're voting for her based on, that proves that point.
Did you see this story of the woman that wasn't allowed in the baseball game because of her MAGA hat?
I did see that story.
It was a Mets game, and now she's been identified. She's a black woman in MAGA gear. And I wear my MAGA hat all over the place. I don't wear it everywhere. I don't wear my MAGA hat to places where they serve me food, okay?
Right.
Because, you know why. But I take it everywhere, and I wear it all the time. I've had people give me the middle finger and use profanities, but I've never been told to leave someplace because of it. I don't think this woman was refused entry because of the MAGA hat. I think she was refused entry because she's a black person wearing the MAGA hat. And I think it's a case of racial discrimination more than it is the MAGA hat. And whoever stopped her, they just did not like seeing a black woman in a Republican hat.
Well, she's suing them for $2 million.
Well, she's claiming racial discrimination.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the thing about that kind of thing, you have to have damages, right? I don't know if she's been damaged. She could, you know what I mean? So I don't know if she'll win that lawsuit. But I think it's a racial discrimination lawsuit, and I think that's exactly why they did it. Well, what goes through somebody's mind not to let them in because they got a Make America Great Again hat on? I've never heard of such a thing.
Liberal lunatic.
I mean, if you remember, there were some people that were attacked out in public with MAGA hats during the first election. Remember, a child was attacked by a grown man in a restaurant. Remember that? It was on video. But we're the threat.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy who went to a MAGA when Joe Biden was running against Trump. Went to a Trump rally and he was wearing like a Joe Biden hat, and everybody was really nice to him. He couldn't believe it, you know. He said, "These are not mean people. These are great people."
They probably felt sorry for him.
He
He's in
became
the Biden
a MAGA
hat.
person because of that. And there was a guy on Twitter, some politician or somebody, I can't remember who it was, but he, in the media or something, and he said he is supporting Trump. He's been a Democrat his whole life. And he said he has been bombarded with he's Jewish, with racial comments and hatred. And he said it's all coming from the left, all of it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. The left are the party of violence, intolerance. If you don't agree with them, I mean, you know, you're a racist, you're bigoted, you're narrow-minded, you're a threat, you're this or that. They say horrible things about you if you don't agree with their opinion. It's like, if you don't agree that children should be given hormones at 11 years old or have their breasts cut off at 13, you're just a horrible person. If you don't think that, I mean, that is what it has come to the point of mutilating minors to prove their point. These poor children. These poor. I mean, I saw
a video
these
on
parents should. I just don't understand this.
I saw a video on X over the weekend. It was from Good Morning America with Michael Strahan.
I saw that,
and they had a little kid come out in drag. I mean, what are they doing? It makes no sense.
There's a little boy. He's like a famous drag person.
That's
He's
ridiculous.
like 11 years old, and I've seen him on other shows. And they had him come out, and they're celebrating it, and this and that. It's strange to me. ABC is already in trouble with the debate with David Muir. I read his ratings are down 40% now. And I told you, my mom was an avid David Muir fan. Every night, she's like, I used to call him her boyfriend because she never missed the show. She just loved the guy for some reason. And she's a Trump supporter, but she loved David Muir. And after that debate, she called me the next day. She said, well, I'm never watching David Muir again. She said, I was just absolutely disgusted by the way they treated Trump. And she doesn't love Trump either. She's voting for him, but she doesn't love him as much as we do. But she's like a Republican. But she's like, she's going to vote for him. She said he's, was a good president. But she doesn't love his personality. But it was so bad that even she stopped watching him. And his ratings are really low now. ABC is just... They're just not doing.
They're out of
well.
control.
They're just. I don't know who's running the corporation.
This thing with the drag show with the kid. Drag shows and things, that's adult entertainment. It doesn't mean it's nasty or pornographic, but like as an example, the example I use, okay, are the Hooters girls. You shouldn't have Hooters girls come into schools. That's adult entertainment too. They're fully dressed and they're not naked, but it's adult entertainment. Drag shows are adult entertainment.
Now, not anymore. Now they're for kids.
No,
I mean, they've been for kids for years.
Agree
now.
with that. They're still adult entertainment.
I don't either, but that's what liberals think. I mean, they have drag queen story time at the library now.
Now, I want to thank our
Kirk Cameron gets banned.
I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you'd like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. And remember, Patreon supporters, you have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air thank you shout-out on every podcast episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R., and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. Again, there's a link to our Patreon page in the description of the episode. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. It looks like we might have a hurricane coming towards Florida. Oh, my God, on the Gulf Coast. So those of you on the Gulf Coast, oh, my goodness, I guess you got to buy water and prepare, right? My name's Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back next time. Not after this. Next time, we'll be back. Kind of blew the ending, but that's okay. We'll talk to you next time, guys. Take care.